be noticing that I look a little bit more cool than even I normally do, and that's because I'm wearing an earpiece. I mentioned on the first day, what I'm going to make every attempt to do is to record each class before you freak out. There's no cameras on you, so if you're having a bad hair day, that's fine. It happens. Nobody's going to see you, but what you will see is the board, and what you will hear is whatever is being said. At least whatever I'm saying. I'm not going to post every single period, but I have 2 geometry classes per day. And really, whichever one I feel goes smoother, that it's more productive, that's the one that'll get posted that day. I can tell you from early on, I think it's going to be, you guys are going to be the ones being posted most days. Like this period is a work in progress. So, the objective for today was to start lecturing on the introduction to geometry, and we will get to that. But we might not be able to cover everything I wanted to cover today because I feel the need, since the first day was going 100 miles an hour, a lot of you didn't understand some things. I'm going to try a quick review of some of the things we discussed, just regular day-to-day procedure stuff that we've gone over during the first 2 days. Okay, and then we'll get to that. Luckily, we have 2 days to cover that. So whatever I don't get to today, we'll go over that. And then if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay. So you recognize what's here, especially you guys being sophomores. You should know how to get to E-class. Does anybody not know how to get to E-class? Have you been in Gwinnett County before? So you know how to get to E-class? Sweet. Okay. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to, is what we spent the first day going over mostly, which was the syllabus. And this is where you find it, you read it, your parents read it, and then you click on the syllabus receipt form that will take you to a page that looks like this. Now, my concern is, even though I told you it's due on Friday, and today's only Wednesday, I would consider on a sliding scale level of difficulty, this to not be the most challenging thing. Most of you should know your last name, your first name, your student ID.
It's kind of hard.
Well, you might have to work it out, just do all the steps, but.
I don't know, E-class last year was so much easier though. Like, this is.
Because it looks a little different.
And like, I can't find anything at all.
Yeah.
Yours
they like updated the whole
So,
model.
On the left side.
I know, but it never looked like that. But this is like new for everybody, so everybody's like taking time to like.
Well, I'm gonna hook you up today because I needed an assistant. I'm gonna let you be my assistant.
Okay.
And we're gonna use yours. So, see, my concern is, look, I have not gone through individual students, so I don't know. Who knows? Maybe every single person in this class has already done it. Maybe. I have not looked at individual names. But what I have looked at are numbers, and I have about 150 students total that were all directed to go to this page, and as of right now, 49 of them have completed it. So I will remind you that this needs to be done by Friday, and I will elaborate as to what that means. When I mean by Friday, I actually really mean Thursday. Because Friday morning, I have my planning period, first period. What I'm going to do is I will go through all the individual names on Friday morning. And I'm not going to be looking for who has completed it. I'm going to be looking for who hasn't. Because those people that haven't done that are going to get the F, and that F is going to stay there. And we're still going to contact the parents, and we're still going to find a way to get you to get this filled out and eventually get you as part of Remind 101. But I'm looking for Friday just to give out Fs. Okay? Now, assuming that you have completed this by Friday morning, that doesn't mean you're going to get your A yet, but it means that now you will be included as part of that Remind 101 blast that's going to be sent out, okay, to all the emails and to the phone numbers that were included. And once I have your parents register for the class, that's when you'll get your A. I'm thinking about I'll give you an extra week for that. So at the end of week 2, as long as I have you registered for the Remind 101, then I'll put your A. So if you haven't done that by now, get on that. Any questions there? Okay. The next thing, back to E-class. I'm not going to use yours yet, because yours looks exactly like mine. So, but I will use yours now in a second when we start to talk about homework. So, First thing you'll see is the calendar, which tells us what we're doing each day. You can click on any of these if you want to like. So this says review operations with fractions. That's an E assignment. That's the one that's a review. It's not even part of the curriculum. It's just something that I like to do every year with all of my classes. If this was a calculus course, I'd be doing the same thing. So we did the introduction to the class. We reviewed operations with fractions. Yesterday we took that pre-test. This is algebra. Sorry. So yesterday we did the geometry pre-test, and then for today and tomorrow we have on the schedule to do the introduction to geometry lecture. Something, especially if you're somebody who is organized and is very like dedicated, I would definitely recommend to you is to walk in each day with the notes for that day already in your notebook. But how can I do that? Well, here's how. If you right underneath the calendar, even on yours, say your name one more time. Luna? Okay, so even on Luna's, it's gonna look just like mine. She would go underneath her calendar. I think this is the easiest way to do it. And this is gonna be all the content from week 1. So she would click on that and see where it says week 1 lectures and notes. Okay, click there. And that's gonna give you a day-to-day breakdown of what was covered in class. So as you can see, for today, Wednesday, August 8th, I've already uploaded the introduction to geometry notes. You could click that from home. And you'll be able to see what we're going over today. The next time, now tomorrow we're gonna go over this also, but there's no notes for tomorrow because I only posted it once. Okay. Friday we'll have new notes on translations. So you would go on there and it's a suggestion because what's gonna happen in class is I can almost guarantee you, unless you've gone to like handwriting school and you can like write without even looking at the page really fast, probably not gonna have enough time to write everything down. But if everything's already there, now when you're in class, you're not writing, you're more making annotations. You're saying, oh yeah, look, he emphasized this word. Let me draw an arrow here. Let me highlight this. And it goes by a little bit more smoothly. I would highly recommend that. One thing that you don't see on this page, but you will start seeing on this page starting tonight, is this little guy here in my ear, and then we're recording. I'll pick one of the classes, and you'll see the video for that day pop up. Now, tomorrow, even though there's no notes there, I will record tomorrow's class, and I'll post that video there for Thursday. And the only days that shouldn't have videos would be days with quizzes and tests. If I don't know, if there's some technical difficulty and I couldn't get it to work that day, who knows, maybe there might be some exceptions here and there, but I am going to make every effort possible to put a video up for every day that we're discussing something on the board. So that if you're either absent, you can go look at it, or if you're here, but you just, you want to, I know he said this, but I can't remember how he said it. Well, now you can. And then another thing I want to point your attention to, because this is where we're going to start every class, is back to this content browser. And hey, look, I was working on this, even the fraction one, which the fraction one I'm not going to lecture on, but even this falls under a scenario where, like, hey, I was working on it and I have no idea how to do this problem. This goes for the entire year. If period 4 homework hub, if you click on that, there's going to be a thread here for every assignment for each week. Normally there's just one assignment per week. Since this week I'm not doing well, it's really because I wanted to, but it's also because there's no attendance grade this week, and I want to be able to give you at least 2 grades a week. You have 2 assignments. They happen to both be due on Sunday. One is worth 3 grades, one is worth 8 grades. Yeah.
And those are the ones with a bunch of links that you have to do.
But what I'm showing you here though is, let's say you're working on something and you just, I don't know how to do it. Now, you'll have my notes in my video. Khan Academy, if it happens to be a Khan Academy, not every single week might be on Khan Academy. There are some gaps in the Khan Academy exercises where I might have to bring in my own assignment. But assuming it's on Khan Academy, they have their own videos. We'll talk about, that's when I'm gonna log in you in. They have hints available that you could use. But hey, you're still stuck and you have no idea what to do. Let's say it's on fractions. You would click on operations. I'm in homework help. You would click on operations with fractions. Okay. You would reply to my thread. If you have more than one question, then you're gonna have to reply, with multiple. So reply, and once you reply, now you can you take a screenshot. Depends on what device you're using. If you're using a phone to do an assignment, or you gotta know how to take a screenshot with your phone. If you're using a tablet, you have to know how to do a screenshot with a tablet. If you're using a PC, on the PC it's print screen. The one that I always forget because I never use them are Macs, but I looked it up this morning. Somebody asked me, I think a Mac is like Command Shift 4 or something like that. Just Google screenshot Mac if you're using a Mac. Take a screenshot, and you can either copy and paste if it allows you to, or if you're using a device that when you take a screenshot saves the file, then you can insert the file. Here it says insert image. One or both of those might work. Okay, then you post it where it says post, and it'll be up, and that's the first thing I'm gonna check every day, starting tomorrow. So you have the availability to do that on any assignment. There should be one per week. This week there's two. Just make sure you put in the right one. Don't put a fraction one up here. Don't put a week one assignment one down there. Just put them in the appropriate one. We'll go over that if you need.
So are we not using like Dropbox?
I don't know what you used before.
Dropboxes, you mean just to put assignments into?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like a physical actual
It's-
like
No,
box?
it's like there was a folder on the old one. I
Okay.
think you can still do it, but you can like turn in assignments into the Dropbox and you have access to the Dropbox. And I'm not familiar too much with the Dropbox. I never really used it.
Yeah. Been dealing with
Does it seem difficult
the
though?
other one, what, 2 years? It's just different. No, I mean it's not difficult, I just have to use.
If you have a question for me and I'm not around you at the time, email me. If you need more individualized help, I'm here before school and I'm usually here after school.
Well, the reason why I wanna like know everything and go through it with you is because I'm leaving. I'm not gonna be here Friday, so I'm gonna have to take my computer on the trip and like do my homework on the way there. And I just don't wanna like be stuck
Okay.
and not do my homework. You know?
I got you. Any questions so far? Okay. And then now lastly, here's where I will use Luna. Let's here, Luna, do you mind coming over here? Okay. Sign into your eClass. You sleepy on the first day? No. Were you able to get anything in the package? You know? You took your $5, but it didn't even give you anything for $5. It just took it and just. What were you trying to get?
I was trying to get me some hot fries. I was hungry.
Okay, perfect. You can go sit now, and I'll sign you out. So the N is silent then? It's just Luna?
No, a lot of people have trouble saying my name, so they just call me Luna.
Okay. So what I want to do now is mimic as if I'm Luna and I'm going to be working on an assignment. And in order to thank her for her graciousness and generosity, I'm actually going to do one for her. So you can see how it looks like and everything, all right? So first thing you have to do every single time is log into your eClass and click on G Suite for Education. That you're going to have to do every time.
Guys, if you are afraid you're still gonna forget this G Suite, just jot it down somewhere, like where you.
Jot it down, or hey, video's gonna be online, YouTube. And I just want to leave that open. I just think that should be open. Okay? So now, once that's open, this next step, you're actually not even gonna have to do, but just for the first time, you might want to, until you get used to Khan Academy, go back to the eClass page, which you said that you were a little confused with, and go up to the waffle. It looks like a waffle. And you click it. Since I'm your favorite teacher, I'm gonna pin my class. So stay up there. And notice how it looks exactly like the one you saw before. You see my email here. You see the syllabus on the left side. So that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay? You see the calendar? Here, let's look at the calendar. When is our first quiz? It's hard to see. Come on, people.
I can't see.
People in the
12th.
front. 17th. Yep, Friday. Next Friday. Next Friday is the first quiz. When are the first 2 assignments due? Those are the ones here on Sunday. When's your unit test on the 28th? So that's the calendar, right? We go down to the content browser. Week 1. And even though it's not worth as many grades, let's say she just wanted to go in order and work on operations and fractions. I haven't lectured yet on the other one, so this is the one you should know. These videos pop up. You can watch them if you like. And then now there's 13 different objectives that she wants to complete. You do not have to go in order. You can go whichever one you want. Let's just say you click the first one. Okay. Now, let's just do tossing around in my head how long I should take on this, but here I'll do a couple of them like slow for you, but then the rest I'm just gonna zoom fast because I just want you to look at certain aspects of the site, and then I want you to see what it looks like when you're done. So first thing I want you to know, every single one could have a different objective. The objective here says to do 7 problems. Some might say do 5, some might say do 3. Some of them might say, I don't think I've seen more than 7, but like, they say do 7, and you get the first one right, okay, you're done. You'll see a pop-up that says, okay, you're done, congratulations, and it'll give you a percent. Okay. I cannot tell you when that happens, because really I don't know. It surprises me each time. So I'm gonna assume I'm gonna do 7 problems. And this one says to rewrite 10 1/3 as improper fraction. These are things that you should know already. But what if I don't? Let's say I don't know what I'm doing. Besides the videos that I provided, what Khan Academy provides for you are, you see where it says here, watch a video or use a hint. If you're stuck, you would click that. The videos are penalty free. If you watch a video, that will not hold back your progress. If you ask for a hint, the second you click hint, it's going to mark that one wrong. It's not going to give you credit for it. But it's a little bit more direct. It's going to tell you what to do. And you can continue to keep on click hint until eventually, if the hints aren't working, it's going to give you the answer. It's going to tell you each time what step by step how to do it. But eventually, it's going to give you the answer. So then you can put the answer and then go to the next one. Yes? Question?
Will the videos work on school Wi-Fi?
No. The YouTube video, my understanding is that you guys cannot see YouTube if you're on school Wi-Fi. No. At least for YouTube, you gotta find another way, a way to get access elsewhere. If you can think of a better site that you can get while you're in school, let me know. But at the district I came from, YouTube was allowed, but here they don't. Any questions so far? Okay, so here let's work this one out then. When I write this as an improper fraction, which number do I want to keep? Every mixed number can be written as an improper fraction and vice versa. What number do I keep? The denominator, yeah. So I know this is gonna end up being something over 3. I don't know what's gonna go on top, but I do know the number on top is gonna be bigger than the number on the bottom. How do I figure out what that is? Well, if I keep the 3, the mental cue is that I know I'm gonna start at the 3. And then all you have to do is remember multiply and then add. It's like a C. You're gonna go around like if it's a C. What is 3 times 10? 30. What is 30 plus 1? 31. So all the children rejoice. And go in here and then put 31 over 3. And you even get a little happy jingle there at the end. That sound always makes me happy. Okay, I'll do one more here where now they're going to ask you to go backwards. Now they're going to start you with a mixed number and you have to go to, they're going to start you with an improper fraction and you got to end up with mixed numbers. But again, what number are we going to keep?
5. The denominator.
Denominator, yeah. 5. But since I need to end up in mixed, I need to put numbers there. Well, yeah, if you have a calculator, you could divide, but sometimes people don't divide really well. You know, people struggle with multiplying, so dividing might be even harder. But yes, if you had a calculator, you could put 19 divided by 5 in the calculator, and whatever number is to the left of the decimal, that goes in the big box. Okay, what I like to do mentally is try to think, okay, if I were to count by 5s, if I were to count by that number, how many, like 5, 10, 15, 20, how many times could I count by 5 without going over 19? 3. Because if I did 3 times 4, I'd get 20. That's more than 19. 3 times 5 is 15. How far, if I'm at 15 on a number line, how far away am I from 19? 4. Okay, so the nice thing I like about Khan, I've used other interactive websites before. They really guide you. Like when you click this, it tells you the format. Like once we get into columns that have pi in it, like they'll tell you, because there's no pi button on a keyboard, they tell you to just type in pi and it turns into a pi and stuff. They give you some hints as to how you can. 3 4/5. Okay. Now for these, I'm just gonna go faster so we can get through other stuff. 68 over. I just want you to see what it looks like when it's over. All right, so that was number 7 of 7. I got them all right, or actually Luna got them all right. Congratulations, Luna. Oh, you know what? Oh, this might cost me. What did I forget to do?
Sign in.
Yeah, I forgot to sign in. Now, really, that shouldn't make a difference. To be honest, that shouldn't make a difference, but for some reason, it did this morning. We did the whole G Suite thing, but you gotta go to login and continue with Google.
So don't forget that.
Yeah, don't forget that like I just did. But see, since I'm still logged in on the browser, that shouldn't make a difference, but look, it did. All right, I'll just do this fast again.
I wonder if some of them are repeater problems.
You will.
Yeah.
The question bank is limited some, but the kids don't notice that. You can do these an unlimited amount of times. Like you're gonna see my score here when I'm done. If you don't like your score and you want to do it again, you can repeat these an unlimited amount of times. So you see where it says show summary? And she also sees her name up here, so she knows she signed in. Okay? More happy music, and that's the important number. That's what she got on that exercise. Okay. Practice makes perfect. If you do get one wrong, maybe it says like 87%. And maybe you're happy with 7%, you leave it. 52, it's going to tell you what percent you got. Yes?
So 9% got grade involved.
Well, it's just going to be the average. So if there's 13 of them, I'm going to add up all your percents and divide by 13 and whatever that comes out to. So somebody asked me this morning, well, what if I don't do it? What does that mean? Well, and on that one, whichever one you didn't do, you get a 0. And add them up and divide by 13, yes?
Okay, so when it asks you to do like 7, so you're doing 7 of the problems, or you just doing 7 of one problem?
7 of the problems that fall under that heading. Okay. So besides that, what I wanted to show you, remember I had said you don't have to go back to, see, because really what you have to do now is go back to the E-class, which isn't even here anymore, and find the next one and click that one. But you don't have to do that because since now you signed up for my class, what I did after you left yesterday, if you just click anywhere on the banner, or if you just click, KhanAcademy.org, and you type that in, and go to the main page, which is called the dashboard. All the assignments that I've given you are going to show up here. It gives you a due date. So you see the ones that are due on Sunday. And it tells you to start them. You see she has 100% on the one that we just did. So now she can just, now what I would not do on anything, when that show summary thing that popped up, sometimes it'll say, oh, go to the next module or next. I never click next on the site. Because that might take me somewhere that the site wants you to go, but that I might not want you to go. So I would always come back here to the main page, and then now you don't have to go back to E-class anymore. So any questions on Khan Academy?
Will you remind me, because I didn't catch it, if they want to redo it, if they want to do it again,
They should be able to click it again here. Now the reason why it's not showing up is she got 100%, I guess. Okay. But you should be able to click it. If it isn't here where it says start, last year they let you just click start again. But who knows, maybe start doesn't show up. She should be able to click on the title and just go back there.
Do it again. Okay.
And just do it again.
Okay.
Any other questions there? Yeah.
Is each link one problem, or is it?
It depends. The one that you just saw was 7. Here, let me click start on this one and see. This one happens to also be 7. Let me go down here. See like angle types. Look, that one's 4.
But y'all are probably pretty familiar with,
Some these have different each exercise has a different objective. But like I said, some of them might say do 4 problems and then you just do 1 and you're gonna see it's gonna tell you 100% and you're done. Okay? If you want to confirm your percentage and make sure that you got it, whatever shows up here is what I'm gonna see. If you do it 17 times, I'm gonna keep the highest one. I'm gonna keep whichever one is the highest. That's the one that's gonna show up there, that's the one I'm gonna keep. Any questions? So we're good then to start today's lecture?
Linda, that helped.
Yeah.
Showing you that.
Okay. Glad I could help. A lot of work, you think? The stuff for the 8th grade one, that one's gonna be really fast. The other one's fractions, and I know you don't like fractions, but.
But think about like where it said types of angles, like acute, obtuse, right?
Yeah,
right?
that's
pretty familiar with that.
It's gonna take you 30 seconds.
Yeah, no problem at all.
I mean, look, I'm not familiar. This is my first year in Georgia, so I'm not familiar with Georgia curriculum in middle school. But if I, like, for instance, if I were to ask you what's an acute angle, is that something you've never heard of before? Or an obtuse angle?
That was in the 7th grade, right? Maybe 7th grade. That's probably a little bit young.
Yeah.
Because like where I'm from now they're even doing Pythagorean theorem in middle school. And like they're introducing some geometry things early on. Which fine, do I expect you to be a master on these things? No, but you can always learn something better if you've heard it before, if it's not the first time you're hearing it. Alright. Luna, I'm gonna log you out now, okay? So this introduction to geometry lesson, which is a 2-day lesson, is a lot of vocab, some definitions, some descriptions. It's not a lot of math. If you consider math to be numbers, and adding, subtracting, and multiplying and dividing, there's not a lot of it. Question? The reason why you have a notebook is to get it in the notebook. Now, look, to be honest and completely transparent, what can I do to force you to do that? Probably not much, because I'm not going to give you a grade on your notebook. What I used to do, where I had a little bit more control as to what I can do in my class, where the last district I was at, is I used to allow kids to use their notes on quizzes if there was in a notebook. And then so that was kind of the leverage I held on you is, hey, well, you want to use them on quizzes, it better be in the notebook, no printouts. But as now in this school, really, I think even in this whole district, everything is common. So whatever I do on a test or quiz has to be what everybody else is doing, and that's not something that's been discussed as a possibility. If I can, at the geometry meetings, if I can maybe bring it up and maybe people are receptive to it, maybe that's something that could happen later on. Not on tests, forget about tests. That's never, I doubt that can ever happen on tests, but maybe I can work something where on quizzes, maybe we can end up doing that eventually. But if that were to be the case, it would only be in an open. Question?
Also, it helps you to remember things when you write them, right? You're less likely to study something, and if you just glue it in.
Sure, like the act of actually writing something down, you're using different parts of your brain as opposed to just printing something out and staring at it. It's not, doesn't work the same. So, all right, in geometry, we start off with what are called the undefined terms of geometry. Undefined terms are a point, a line, and a plane. Okay, so first off, what is a point? A point is just a location. It is infinitely small. It has no size or shape. It is just a location. A line is an infinite amount of points. What does infinite mean? Never ends. Yep, infinite amount of points. But this is the key here that you would want to focus on. So, like, see, for instance, if you had your notes already written in your notebook, and it's not your fault, I know I didn't tell you to do that. But if you eventually have the notes already, now this is already there, and you can say, hey, look, this is what I want to emphasize. This is like you have a highlighter or circle it in 2 directions. There is one Khan Academy lesson where that's what you have to know. And then they're going to say, like, hey, a line goes forever in how many directions? And then you're going to put 2 directions. And then when you get to array goes forever in how many directions? In 1 direction. A segment goes forever in how many directions? In no directions. So the key thing about a line is that we're going forever in 2 directions. Since a line is made up of an infinite amount of points, if any 2 points or 2 or more points happen to be on the same line, if they are located on the same line, a word that can be used to express, to describe those points would be collinear. Those points are collinear if they lie on the same line. Okay. Now I know I said point, line, and plane, and we'll get to plane, but this is just going to branch off of line. What's a line segment? Is a line with end points. So if a line is made up of an infinite amount of points, if 2 of those points mark the end of the segment, then that would be a line segment. On Khan Academy, what are you going to have to focus on? that it goes forever in no directions. As part of this lecture, we'll start looking at diagrams. Okay? What do you think, if you've seen it before, what symbol marks that a line is going on forever? No, not a fixed line.
Oh, is it like a
Less hands, more words.
I thought it was an
Arrowhead. If you see an arrowhead, that means they're going on forever. So if you see two arrowheads, that's a line. But if there's going to be a beginning and an end, you're going to see end points. Instead of arrowheads at the end, you're going to see two points that mark a beginning and end, dots points that mark a beginning and an end. Okay? If there is a beginning and an end, then it is also possible to have a middle, a point in the middle. If you go on forever, there is no middle to infinity. But there is a middle when you have a beginning and an end. So if and only if you have a line segment, it is possible to find the point in the middle. That is known as the midpoint. A midpoint bisects the segment. Let's bisect that word bisect. What's the prefix bi mean? It does mean to. Sect means to cut. So what does a midpoint do? It cuts a line segment into two equal parts. These little hash marks here are words that are used to show congruency. In geometry, the fancy word for equal, you're used to the word equal before, you've heard the word equal, but geometry has a fancy word for equal known as congruent. If I get an orange and slice it in half, what am I going to be looking at? Two equal halves of an orange, right? So if I get a segment and cut it in half, I'm going to have two equal or two congruent segments. That's what these little hash marks mean. You want oranges? I like oranges too. Okay. Haven't got to plane yet because now we're just talking about variations of lines still. We're still kind of in the line category. Let's see, but now these are defined. A ray is defined as part of a line that goes forever in one direction. So if you were to be looking at a diagram, what are we going to see one of if we're going forever? One arrowhead, yeah. What are we going to see on the other side? As you said, a dot or a point, yeah. Point. And we'll see these on the in the diagrams. And then we finally make our way to a plane. A plane is an infinite amount of points in all directions. Also known as, not the things that fly in the sky, but it's a flat surface. A flat surface makes it into a plane. If you have points that lie on the same flat surface, those points are said to be coplanar. Same line is? No, if 2 points are on the same line, collinear. Same plane, coplanar. But wait, Mr. Romero, I haven't had enough time to write that whole thing down. Okay, get them online. Leave yourself some space, we'll get it online because I want to try to get as much of this done as possible. Also the notes, the structure that I try to follow each time is explanation, examples, and if I run out of examples, I'll start working on your homework for you. Like I'm not going to do it for you like I did for her today, but I will actually open up the assignments and you'll see the same types of problems that I will do there. Here are those diagrams. Here are those three undefined terms of geometry, a point, line, a plane. The reason why I like this diagram up here, or this table, it tells you what it looks like. So this is the way a point would look like. It is drawn as a dot. You name it by a capital letter. It gives you some facts about it. and then this is the way that you name it. Really all you would need is a capital letter. Here is a line. What do you see two of? Yeah, you see two arrowheads. But wait, Mr. Romero, I also see 2 points. Well, yeah, because points could be on a line. How many points are there on a line? No. An infinite. A line is made up of an infinite amount of points. In this case, A and B just happen to be 2 of them. Now, yeah, if I erase the arrowheads, then yeah, then that would be a line segment, sure. How do we name a line? This is such a big one. Oh, so many mistakes are made on this. There's no reason to. Hey, if I want to give a line a name, the most common way to name a line is to pick any 2 points that fall on that line. Since here there's only 2 points being given a name, I would name this line AB. That's the most common way, but you have to put the line symbol. The line symbol is marked, is shown for you here. It does not matter the order of the points. So this particular line that is shown here can be referred to as line AB or line BA. That's the most common way of naming it. If there happens to be like an italicized letter there, that doesn't happen very often though, then you can call this line N and just use one letter. That letter is not a point, but you have to write the word line in front. You cannot call this line B, you can't call it line A. But these are, down here tells you different ways that you can name them. A plane, okay? How can you name a plane? Now instead of 2 points, you need 3 points, but those 3 points cannot be collinear. They have to be coplanar, they have to be on the plane, but they just can't all line up. The other way, this is probably just as common as if they give you like an italicized letter, I can just call this like plane T. That T is not a point, it's just the name of the plane. What I've included for you down here are some of those branches of lines, even though these are not undefined terms, because I want you to see the symbols. How would you name a segment if this didn't have the arrows? How would you name it? A, B, or BA, but look at the symbol. What doesn't it have? It doesn't have arrows. This is the way the diagram would look. If that was going to be a segment, it would look like that. That's how you would name it. Okay. Array. Okay, this is a symbol for array. What do you only see one of? What do you only see one of? Is that not your question? It's only one arrow. Okay. Now, array is where it gets tricky, right? Because see, segments and lines are interchangeable. The order doesn't matter of what point you put first. On array, it does. Because array has 2 specific points. We have an endpoint, which I know you hear the word end and you think like final, but endpoint just means that it terminates. It doesn't go forever in that direction. So we have an endpoint and a through point. So if I had a diagram that looked like this, where's my endpoint? What's the one point that I'm not going forever in that direction? A. What's the point I'm going through? B. So I can only call that ray AB. I cannot call that ray BA. If I started at B and went through A, then I could call it BA. All right, I'll call time there, and then you just remind me that this is where we left off. You can go fill in the blanks on your own. You have the notes there. Tomorrow, remember, we're going to be covering the same thing tomorrow, and we should have enough time to finish.